All right, guys, here we go. IM.LosirA, I'm going to say his name first, spawning as our green Zerg player down in the bottom left part of the map. Tal'Darim Alter, he has brought his team one win away from taking out the representative from this team from StarTale. He is their last hope. It is Squirtle.
That is true. And so Tal'Darim Alter is a map that we can definitively say is destined for a rotation out in the
it will be gone
in IPL.
soon.
But of course, what happens is we tell teams the map pool at the beginning. They train for weeks to to prepare people for the maps. So we can't just be like, oh, hey, by the way, we're switching up the maps.
That's right. And we're putting in Desert Oasis.
Well, only if we did that Blistering Sands, I'd be okay with it. So.
Yep.
But, so this map is going to rotate out, but this is a long tournament, so it's been in here for a little while, of course, but probably won't see too much of it, so enjoy it while you can.
It's been around for a long time. It's been a good map.
Yep.
The metagame has kind of evolved past it, I think. It doesn't really work. It forces players to play a little bit differently than usual, which is kind of cool to see, but, it's good to get new blood in there as far as maps go as well. We have cross spawns this time between our Zerg and Protoss players. I believe that was at that was a little bit of an early pool. That was a 10 pool.
It was a 10 pool. Yeah, I just looked at that. So it is indeed a 10 pool. I was looking at the time of the drones in the spawning pool there, but yeah, 10 pool coming up for LosirA.
So many early pools on this map too. It's great.
And LosirA is kind of, this is his elements. This is when this map was king, was when he was king. So I'll be interested to see if he has a particular strategy ready for this. And I want to know why Squirtle chose this. There's some other pretty standard maps that are left in the map pool. After this, still Santron Mist, and we still have Atlantis Spaceship as well.
Well, you can play a very macro-oriented style as Protoss on this map, but like you said, all in all, I feel like this is a difficult map for Protoss. The Max Mutalisk style that a lot of Zerg players will do on this map is really tough for Protoss to deal with. So Squirtle, I would say, clearly has some sort of, I would guess, all-in plan for it. He had some very, very clever all-ins planned for Marine King and MMA back at IPL4 that would just work beautifully. But first he's going to need to deal with this 10 pool out of LosirA. Now, has he found him yet? I don't think he has. Yeah, the Zergling's not moving across the map in quite the right direction. So it looks like Squirtle should be able to be okay against this.
I just saw a click right there from LosirA, so hopefully he'll start sending some units up there in a second. Yeah, but not going to be able to find his opponent there. Yep. Immediately starting to run over to the top right-hand corner, but the Photon Cannon has finished warping in, and the Nexus is on the way, so Squirtle hasn't set himself too far behind by doing that.
Now, LosirA can just run past the cannon and just cause Squirtle to lose some mining time in the main. You may just see this and turn around. Probably will, yeah, because I think that probe does block things, and yep, he's going to just turn around right there. He did make mostly drones after this, so this doesn't set him too far behind. And you're not going to be going for 3 hatch, no gas anyway on this map because there are destructible rocks at your third base. So really, LosirA just fine after that opening. Just unfortunate that he's not going to be able to do any, significant damage to Squirtle with it.
No, he is not, but he will be able to follow this up pretty solidly. We've seen so many Zerg players go into Mass Muta on this map. Even in the current metagame, I mean, unless they start sending Zerglings to work on the destructible rocks literally as soon as they start creating them, it is more than likely going to be destined for at least a little bit of higher tech. LosirA just is actually on no gas at the moment, continuing to drone up, and we'll see how quickly he decides to drop that down. Starting to go after the destructible rocks right now, though.
Yeah, he waited until that probe was gone, and you saw Squirtle did send it by those rocks right away just to check for that very thing. He's going to send another probe to look at those destructible rocks again. Probably going to scout for some hidden expansions as well, just to kind of stay safe.
Let's follow this rally point.
Yeah, where's it going? Oh, yeah, just kind of looking a little bit for any sort of hidden expansions, and then checking the third once again. It's going to be Stargate play from Squirtle.
Not a bad strategy here. I mean, this was kind of what we saw out of Protoss players as well before the game kind of shifted past this map. So the game looking a little bit like a blast from the past, but it looks like LosirA will have a pretty quick third base down here, continuing to drone up after this, and we'll see what he moves into afterwards, but already sitting on 34 drones at the moment.
Yeah, now the reason that we saw a lot of Protoss players going for a Stargate play back in the day is because of that delayed third base from Zerg. It's easy to kind of punish that for Protoss. There's not going to be creep spread all the way over there a lot of times when the air units get out, and sometimes if you combine that with some gateway pressure, you can actually cause a cancel on that third base, and that really does slow down Zerg. And we do have a Void Ray on the way, so I've got to imagine that's what Squirtle has on his mind as far as his plan this matchup.
And we do have a macro hatch already on the way, but the true third base will be started here momentarily. So the Destructible Rocks are almost cleaned up, so LosirA, certainly going to have to defend this base, though, as it is a little bit more exposed than the other ones. But that Void Ray going to have to make its way out quite far across the map. Looks like Phoenix has already started after this, and no 2 Void Rays right away, and he's just going to go ahead and reveal it by taking out this Overlord. Has he already picked up on Stargate Tech?
Oh,
yeah,
he
okay,
knew.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Squirtle knows that in this situation, there's always going to be an Overlord camped over that little high ground spot between the 2 bases, so that's going to be the first thing he's going to take out with his Void Ray. So, you know, not really trying to exploit anything or hide anything here, but just kind of trying to use this in a way that abuses the timings of the third base for Zerg. So even though LosirA knows this is coming, sometimes Zerg can have trouble defending it. LosirA, where he already does have spores on the way, I feel like is going to be in pretty good shape. But Squirtle, you know, with a perfectly fine opening. And from here, we're probably going to see, you know, fairly normal composition. Gateways, Robo, probably Colossi.
And let's see how many Phoenixes are out. 2 at the moment, third just finishing up now. We'll see if any more get created. He has already put down the robotics facility, so it'd be very easy for him to transition in tech now and just use what he has out. Oh, wow, it looks like he's maybe trying to bait some tech out of his opponent. Squirtle already putting down a robotics bay.
Yep, it's a pretty common transition to rush up to Colossi right after getting this air tech and just kind of staying very, very late on it. Now, when LosirA sees that there's only going to be 3 Phoenixes with that, if he doesn't see a 4th, he should know that he probably won't need to be going for Hydras or anything like that, and he's going to need to go just more or less for a lot of defensive ground forces because there's 6 more gateways on the way from Squirtle right now. So this is going to be a pretty powerful 2-base coming out of our StarTale Protoss player.
And there is actually a 4th Phoenix just finishing up as well, so it's going to head across the map. We'll see if there's enough here to still get some damage done. Looks like he's going to try and pick off Overlords. One of those does fall. Phoenix takes some pretty significant damage, though. Not able to bait those Queens too far out of position, so we can't pick them up.
And will he decide to take a 3rd? It looks like he may, but that's a lot of gateways and tech for 2 bases.
But, you know, LosirA is comfortably on 3 bases now and could rocket up to a 4th pretty soon as well. So once those Destructible Rocks are down, it's pretty easy to take the rest of the map. So LosirA will be playing a pretty conventional macro game afterwards. 10 more drones on the way. They'll put him up to a total of 78. And as of yet, no attempt made to take out the Destructible Rocks.
Nope, not yet. He's setting things up for 3rd, but yeah, the fact that he's not attacking those does make one wonder. Maybe just kind of putting on a show for LosirA. I like the addition of the Observer out there to kill creep tumors. That does alert LosirA to the presence of robotics tech, though. So that is something that Squirtle needs to take into account. 2nd Colossus on the way right now. I believe that's the 2nd. And Thermal Lance, is it the 2nd or the 1st? I feel like
let's go ahead and check. It's the 2nd, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Okay, well, Void Ray gets away, takes a little bit of damage there, nothing too bad with that. Oh, he's even going to be able to pick off a Queen here, taking a little bit of damage from the Spore Crawler, but still going to allow him enough time to DPS down the Queen and move away. At the same time, Zerglings running in. If they're going to be able to surround this Colossus, no, they're just going right after Economy.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to definitely kill some probes here. Not a whole lot, though, because Squirtle's going to be able to respond with some Zealots fairly quickly. So this is going to be more of an annoyance than a real risk of damage here for our Protoss player, I've got a feeling. And, well, if he can pick up a pylon, that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
bonus.
And it looks like he is going to be able to get that.
Not
Maybe
bad.
another worker or 2. No, just kind of headbutts into the Zealots afterwards.
Yep, so 2 Colossi with Thermal Lance. That's the push that Squirtle has chosen to do, obviously. No 3rd base at all just yet. Spire on the way, but it is not even close to being done when it comes to, like, getting Corruptors out to handle this.
And he had to make a ton of Zerglings and Spine Crawlers just to stay safe. So as you can see, he saved up for 15 Mutalisks all at once, but unfortunately not going to have anywhere near the minerals to put all of those out.
Yeah, that's right. So the question is, you know, what's LosirA going to do to try to defend this? It's going to be mostly Spine Crawlers shoring up the defense here for what units he has out on the map. 14, 15 Mutalisks on the way right now. You know, like we mentioned earlier, that mass Mutalisk style on Tal'Darim Altar has always been one of the most threatening things that Protoss has had to deal with. And oh man, Squirtle losing a Colossi before it can join up with the Force, that is a problem. Actually, no, that was just his second Colossi. That was just kind of bad unit control for a moment from Squirtle.
Rally point across the map, didn't have anything to back it up. And
Yeah,
LosirA's being very
that hurts a
active
lot.
with these these Zerglings. So yeah, that takes a lot of the firepower out of this. Here we go, though.
It does.
Still running up and putting on some pressure onto this third base. The Zerglings are going to flank around here in just a second. And all of the Mutalisks have arrived as well. We'll see if they can start to take out this anti-air.
Squirtle is in huge trouble right now. Those force fields had better continue to be perfect, as those Mutas are doing a ton of damage here. Not having two Colossi is really going to be a problem for Squirtle.
The force fields initially were really good, though.
They were. He killed a ton of Mutas.
Yeah, he kind of did as good as he could with the amount of forces that he had left. Squirtle is still going to get cleaned up, though, and LosirA in a pretty good spot.
GG,
there's the GG!
yep.
An incredible miracle has sent StarTale down to the lower bracket. LosirA winning 2 games here. They are now matched up against Slayers in the winners bracket finals.
Yeah, no kidding. Incredible.